Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of Newsnight. My name is Joel Fenyonyi. A friend of mine once told me that Africa has three major predicaments, three major challenges. The first one being leadership, the second leadership, the third being leadership. And many will say it's not even made any better by African leaders that want to stay in power for too long. That brings in the question of term limits. Many an African leader have scrapped these to stay longer in power. Some will say, look, when the president has a bit of time to stay in power, they can build systems, make things happen. But then on the other flip side, when term limits are in place, it's a stopgap measure to make sure that somebody is not a preponderant figure. You run your race and then you hand over. But are African leaders willing to bite only twice on the cherry? Joining me, Andrew Mwenda. Andrew, I was telling you earlier on that people tell me they miss the Andrew Mwenda of 2003, 2004. What became of that Andrew Mwenda?
In the future, they will miss this current Andrew Mwenda. So if anyone tells they should be missing something, unless they say
so that
they don't want
metamorphosing.
No, they're saying they don't. You see now I have grey hair and a bald head. At that time I didn't have them. So do they still want me to remain without rather to not have grey hair?
Let's talk term limits, Andrew. I've read some of your articles. I've heard you talk about this whole term limit debate, and you seem to be a proponent of removal of term limits. You think that if a president has done one or two good things, then they should be able to lead for longer. Give me a cogent argument why you think
First of all, that's not true. Let me first debunk your introduction. The problem is leadership in Africa. You are saying that Africa is unique in the sense that it is on the continent with bad leaders. Let me tell you, the leaders of Africa come from African societies. So they can only reflect the social formations, the social behaviors and politics of Africa. So the problem cannot be leadership. Leadership is a reflection of society, not vice versa.
Yeah, but see, if there's a problem with leadership, you can look at the cause.
Let me first answer the question. Leaders come from society. They can only reflect the values of that society. If our leaders came from Mars or from Europe, then we can say they are the problem. If they come from us, they are a reflection of us. Two, it's not true that African leaders are moving term limits. Again, it is a nonsense I see in talking about Africa. Since 1990, 44 African countries put in place term limits. Only 8 have removed them. 34 still have term limits. Therefore, to say that 36 have term limits. Rwanda and Congo may remove term limits, but 36 still have term limits. So even if I removed Rwanda and DRC, there would be 34. 8 out of 36, out of 44, is not a general trend. So the general trend in Africa, we can say, is respect for term limits. Disrespect for term limits is an exception, not the rule, statistically. Now, let me come to answer your question. You see, most people think that having longevity of leaders and term limits are mutually contradictory. Actually, if you read African history, they are not. Longevity is a foundation on which successful term limits are constructed. If you look at the most stable democracies in Africa, with term limits that are holding, and Namibia, the first president 15 years, Tanzania, the first president 24 years, Kenya, the president Moi who led to term limits, 24 years, Zambia, 27 years of Kaunda, Malawi, 30 years of Banda, Ghana, 18 years of Jerry Rawlings. So it is in those countries, Benin, 19 years of Matthew Kariku, Madagascar, same thing. So the countries that had leaders who ruled for a long time,
they became stable and prosperous.
When those leaders left, whether they were electorally defeated or Senegal under Abdou Diouf and Leopold Senghor, statistically, the countries that had leaders who ruled long and then ushered in that period of stable multi-party democracy, it has been held. The countries in Africa that have never had a president serve for long, where they have had multi-party hold, I think 3 or 4. One is South Africa, Mandela only 5 years. Nigeria has never had a president who has ruled for more than 8 years, but it seems to be working for now. We are not very sure. It seems to be working. And which other country, I don't know.
All right,
but let me finish for you the argument. Therefore, Joel, away from the arguments people there can have, the history of Africa shows that having a leader who served a long time
makes things better.
No. It doesn't make things better. It gives you
a good foundation.
It sets a good foundation. It is possible, by the way, that Uganda after Museveni may have a stable multi-party democracy when Museveni retires or dies in office.
Okay, here is the point.
Than if Museveni had left in 1990.
Just listen to this, Andrew. What I hear you say is that if there's a group of 100 men, we are doing research on them. These 100 men are very wealthy. And you find that 90 of these men got their wealth, you know, by being rapacious. They were greedy, they stole.
They are robbers,
yes. The other 10 got their money prudently. They worked hard and so on. What I hear you say is that since there's a correlation, you know, with being...
between wealth and robbery.
That's the point. That you see, to be rich, you must become a robber, because statistically, robbers are wealthy. And yet, actually, it's possible that you can work hard, work prudently, And you gain your money, so you can have some limits in place and eventually build systems that others will build on and things work.
Actually, I can put it like this. The richest countries in the world robbed other countries, in which case, so it is possible that to become a rich country, you must invade others, colonize them, and become rich.
So it's not possible to become a rich country without stealing.
Joel, I just wanted to learn to ask me a question. I answered. First of all, I want to answer your analogy, which lasted 5 minutes to explain. So one,
and we have a minute to wrap this up.
Yes. What you are saying is, for countries, not individuals, because that's the moral issue. For countries, the whole of Europe invaded, occupied, colonized other countries, and robbed them. That's how it became rich. You understand? So perhaps you should say it is very bad to be Britain, France, or America. They should not even talk anything because they robbed other countries.
But back to the issue of time limits.
So now I'm still using your analogy. But what you can say, if out of every 100 people, 90 who are rich have been robbers, it means there is a correlation between robbery and wealth. That in fact people who are rich are robbers. But if you come to term limits, I personally think that term limits are a very good thing. But they must be given a structural foundation. And many times, the historic experience I've given you shows that many countries in Africa that are very stable democracies, Zambia, Malawi, Tanzania, Kenya, Ghana, Senegal, Benin, all these other countries have had a history of a founding father or one president who ruled for a long time.
So does that make it right?
Because you see, this is not a question of, I don't know who is right. You get it? If you say, does it make right in whose eyes? Is it bad to rule for 20 years, 30 years, or one? Yeah, let me give you an example.
Andrew, 30 seconds.
Under the Roman Republic, a leader could only serve for 1 year, non-renewable. You get it? So the Americans said no. The Americans, their current constitution is built on the Roman Republican model. You see, when they did their constitution, they said, okay, a president should be elected for 1 year.
All right, Andrew. This is the debate will continue. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Newsnight.